Well, hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Michele Yasuda, and I'm going to be stepping in for Katie this morning. She is traveling, and I'm really excited. She gave me the idea of playing with fear melters today, and I was thinking about how. Oh, I just realized. Oh, yes, I did press record. I'm way ahead of myself. Okay,
hmm
I was going to say I didn't remember to press record, so I'll start again. So I was thinking about how when we give our attention willingly to something that we want to give our attention to, that's one experience. Like right now, if I invite you to check in with your breath and just notice what it's doing. Notice if you have a full and deep breath or whether it might be a little more shallow. As soon as we give attention to our breath, it changes, of course. So just noticing that. And then I was thinking about how things happening in the world also, or around us, also catch our attention. And sometimes that's not so much by choice. Sometimes our attention goes somewhere where we have maybe feelings of fear around that. Maybe we have feelings of sadness or anger. And I was thinking about how using fear melters, this is something that Katie gave me the idea for, is using fear melters as we're presencing something around us that's bringing up a lot of feelings. And so, what I thought we could do is experiment with thinking about a recent upset. So, letting yourself just bring to mind a recent upset. And then we'll practice the different fear melters and see what happens when we do that. So, yeah, I'm sort of automatically going into a kind of wiggly ooze, but how about we just do the ooze? So we're gently moving our body. I like to think of it as like seaweed in the ocean, just moving along in this really luxurious and beautiful way. And you can notice where in your body might want a little more oozing, like in your face, maybe your jaw, your neck. And then notice how you feel if you bring that item up and you're oozing your body. Does it feel different inside of you as you're noticing that upset? And then we'll try some wiggles and let's see what happens when we wiggle. So the wiggle, you can start with just your fingers and your hands and bring your arms in. Keep it friendly, but let your body just begin to participate and bring some wiggles in. Hmm. I like wiggling and humming because it starts to shake a little, so that can be fun. You could try that out. Hmm. Hmm. I'm noticing a burst of aliveness. I haven't thought about the item right now, but what happened is I got lots of energy. So notice the energy shift in your body as you're kind of coming in for a landing from wiggling. And then notice if you give attention to that item, this something recent that may have upset you, something you've been struggling with a little bit, and then one more time, just add a little bit of wiggles to it and see what happens. We're just experimenting together. What happens when we bring some fear melters to something that we're giving attention to in our mind? Hmm. And then let's experiment with another fear melter, which is root. So you can be rooting as you're sitting. I'm sitting right now, so I'm feeling my feet on the ground. letting my feet spread out so that I can feel more of their presence. I liked how Sherry said that her dogs wanted in on the activity with the wiggles. That's great. Yes, animals probably love the wiggles. We learn from them how they can shake energy off and move energy through. So we're rooting with our feet. And if you're standing, you might go up on your heels a little. I love doing a heel drop. So go up on the balls of your feet and then let your heels drop. So really wonderful way to remind yourself that you're here in this moment. Here I am. And another way that you can root is imagine roots coming out of your hands. So your hands down, your feet are planted on the ground. If you're sitting, it could be your sits bones as well that you're looping with, you're giving attention to, and letting yourself know, here I am. I'm here. I'm here in the present moment. And then right away, my breath just opens up. That becomes automatic. There's just a deeper breath. So notice if that happens for you as you're rooting. And then you can once again bring that item to mind that you are having a struggle with in some way. And notice how it feels if you're rooted while you're giving your attention to that item. Just notice if there's any effect. I notice that I right away go into a little bit of an oozy root, which I also like combining fear melters. And then one of the fear melters that we practice a lot here in Love in Action is the love scoop. And I think today it might be fun to imagine our love pool underneath us. That's one of our lovely colleagues, Darlene, loves to play with the love pool. So imagine right now that you have a pool of beautiful water. It could be any color, whatever temperature feels good to you right now. Maybe you're wanting a little refreshing, cooler water, or maybe you're wanting some warm water. So just imagine that you're standing in a beautiful pool. I imagine mine kind of like a gorgeous river that's just gently moving. And then imagine that in that pool of water, whatever kind it is for you, that you have beautiful memories and people that you love, that you feel the presence of universal love in this water. And so you can reach down and bring that water to your heart or anywhere else you'd like to. Imagine that you're reaching in and taking that love that's in that water and you're refreshing yourself with it. Mhm. Maybe it's like love drops that you put on your shoulders or your head. Hmm. And once again, bring to mind that item, that issue that you felt some stuckness with, or just a recent upset. And notice what happens when you're love scooping while you think about that item. So you're giving your attention to this item and you're giving attention to you and your love scoops. And just notice what happens. I notice a deeper sense of presence. Feels like I can meet whatever it is that I need to meet. That's what happens with fear melters for me. They move energy so that I'm not stuck in whatever fear I might be stuck in, whether it's tightness of fight or if it's the wanting to get out and kind of wanting to leave the flee, or maybe I'm frozen. Or maybe I'm just really feeling confused. Whatever it is, whatever's happening for me around the issue, around whatever's happening, whatever fear melters I do, always support. So you don't have to do the right fear melter. What you can do is experiment with what works best for you to move energy. And so I want to share the integrity card for today. And I chose this one. It came up pretty quick, and I felt that it was really perfect for what we've been experimenting with here today. So just let your attention now move out to this card and see what you're drawn to. And then notice how that lands in your body. So you're giving attention to the card on the screen, and then you're giving attention to your body. And you're noticing how your body is responding to whatever you're noticing. And maybe your eye is moving around and noticing something else. And then see what happens if you add a little bit of an ooze or a little wiggle while you're noticing. Maybe love scooping with the card, with the image, and then feeling your feet rooting. Notice what you're noticing, and I'm going to read what's on this card. This is the presence card. I turn toward what is actually occurring with open posture and easy breath as I respond resourcefully to what wants to happen. So I'll read that again. I turn towards what's actually occurring with open posture and easy breath as I respond resourcefully to what wants to happen. And then the question here for us to ponder is, how can I turn easily toward what is actually happening and open my body and breath to respond resourcefully to what is emerging? And I notice that I feel like I want to say fear melters. That's my favorite way to do that. So I notice that as I'm adding a little bit of breath and turning towards the image, we can all turn towards the image on the screen. And then open up your posture if your posture is closed in any way. And take a nice deep breath. Belly's relaxed. And then just notice how you want to respond to this card. Notice how you want to respond to the image here. And notice a smile coming up on my face. And I'm drawn to the image on top of the man's head, to the light there. And I feel kind of a lightness coming over my body. So I'm going to just come back so that we can loop with each other. Yeah, the presencing moves are so simple and so powerful. The next time that you're wanting to give your attention to another person, maybe to something that's happening in front of you, turn fully towards, open up your posture, and just take a couple breaths. And notice that to me, what that is the answer to the resourcefulness. I feel a sense of resourcefulness when I actually turn my attention to what is occurring rather than going up in my head and trying to figure something out, really allowing those kind of things to drop away and allow my attention to open up with curiosity. And now I'm getting curious of what the Presence Connect play will be for us today. So I'm going to pull up my app and tap for a new combo. All right, I love it. So presence is give yourself a drop of love. So we were playing with our love pool. So how about going and taking a little dropper and filling up with the love pool, and then give yourself that dropper of love anywhere where you're feeling like you could use some. Maybe add another to deepen your out breath. And then our connect is so perfect to follow this. Reflect feelings. So this could be for any interaction, but let's use it for this exact moment of giving myself drops of love and noticing the feelings in my body. So just notice what's present for you right now. What are the feelings that are present? I still notice a sense of my heartbeat going since I'm leading this call today. And then I'm also noticing a sense of, I would say, joy of being able to spend time with you all this morning. And then our play is commit and act. So, probably one of my favorite integrity skills that I've learned from the Hendricks world is the idea that committing is gathering myself, gathering my attention, and moving in a certain direction, a chosen direction. So committing is not about, okay, I'm gonna say I'm doing this from now on. I'm going to eat healthy every day and then think it's going to magically happen. What I notice is that committing is really about gathering my energy and saying, yes, this is what I want. I would like, if I use that example, I would like to eat healthy every day. And I commit to doing that. I commit to that. And then I notice in my body, does my body line up with my words? So maybe you play with something that's a current commitment for you, something that you've been really, maybe you think of it as a goal, maybe you think of it as an intention, something that you'd really like to create in your life, and just play with the idea of committing to it. And we're using the construct of commitment is simply gathering my energy and moving towards that item, moving in the direction of that item. So let yourself, you might say it out loud, you're all on mute. I commit to, and then notice what happens. There's certain commitments that I could say out loud that I know my body will go, nope, nope, that is not you. Nope, you really don't want to commit to that right now. And then what I get to do is do a little fear melters and get curious about that response and start to maybe loosen up a little bit of the grip that seemed to be present inside of me around that item, whatever that might have been. So you can play with commitment in that way. And the commit and act, I think that's what it said. Yeah. So the next step, if you do find something that your body aligns, when you say, I commit to this, you feel a sense of aliveness, you feel a sense of connection all the way through. You feel a sense of maybe joy when you think about this. You might have a little bit of fear too, and can wiggle that out and move the energy through. But what brings the commitment to reality is an action step. And so another one of my favorite Hendrix moves is to ask myself, what is the simplest, most pleasurable step that I can take towards this commitment that I've just made? And so you can ask yourself that now if you've come up with an item that you want to commit to. What is the simplest, most pleasurable step that you can take? And it's funny how the mind usually wants to go to something big that really isn't simple and pleasurable, and that's okay. But I recommend finding something really simple. So if I was using the example of eating healthy, it would be today I'm going to go through my cupboard and and just get rid of anything that's not aligned with my commitment. Or it might be um, sitting down and making a list of the kind of foods I want to have in the house. And that's even, in fact, that's a great example of the first one sounds a little meh, that sounds like a lot of work. But the second one sounded pretty good. I could sit down and I could just write those things out. So if that was my goal, that would be my simple step towards it. So I want to check in and see how everybody is feeling right now. So just notice the energy in your body. So you're giving attention to yourself and noticing, and then see if any fear melters want to spontaneously happen. For me, I've got a wiggly ooze. That seems to be the move right now that my body is liking. And so just let yourself do that. And then one more love scoop for this community. I so appreciate all of you for showing up on a Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday evening to be with us, to play with attention, to play with these amazing tools that bring so much joy to me and allow me to be present and be a beneficial presence in the world. And so I appreciate each of you for doing that and for your intention. And if you want to stay on the call and hang out with the group, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, and Katie will be back with us next week. Thank you so much.